As you know, one of the most insidious fallouts of what the Canadian Prime Minister said 3 days ago, trying to implicate India in the assassination of a Khalistani terrorist in British Columbia, is that open threats of violence have been issued by this particular terrorist, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, part of a banned Khalistani terrorist organization. He flits between Canada and the United States completely free, even though he's a proscribed terrorist belonging to a terrorist group by India. We'll leave that particular irony for another day. But this particular individual has issued open video threats calling for Indian Hindus to leave Canada and go back to India. And how have Desi Netas in Canada responded? Let's just take a look at some of the responses from at least the two most prominent Sikh members of parliament in Canada and what they've actually said. Let me just read out for you what these two very prominent MPs have said. Harjit Sajjan, very, very close to Trudeau, has said, to Hindu Canadians and Indians from all backgrounds, anyone who says you do not deserve to be safe and welcomed in your home does not embody the values of freedom and kindness we hold dear as Canadians. Do not let others delegitimize or question your place and love for Canada. Randeep S. Sarai, who's also a member of parliament, says there has been a video circulating calling Hindu Canadians to have repudiated your allegiance to Canada and to go to India. I condemn this statement and any hate towards Hindu Canadians. Such speech has no place in Canada, but neither Harjit Sajjan nor Randeep Sarai have the guts, the gumption or the spine to name Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. And I'll tell you the reason why, viewer. Well, Pannu, that joker you see on your screen there, is the lawyer of terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, the same terrorist who was killed 3 months ago, the same terrorist whose death Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau now wants India to be linked with. He wants to link it with India, and he says he has some credible evidence. None of that evidence has come forward, but Canadians now singing a different tune, Sikh members of parliament, saying that they want to distance themselves from Pannu's words, distance themselves, condemn his words. They have nothing to do with it. However, very, very importantly, refuse to even name Pannu. They don't even name Pannu because he's the only one issuing those threats. And like I said, the reason is that Pannu is the lawyer of the dead terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. That's the reason. Abhishek Balla, a National Bureau Chief who's been looking at this story very closely, is back online with us. Abhishek, this is a rapidly escalating story. We're looking at a situation where the safety of Indians in Canada has a question mark hanging over its head. The Indian Foreign Office has issued instructions for students to stay safe and register themselves as well. What indications are you getting that anything is being done, especially since it is clear for at least these two instances that Canadian MPs aren't taking the bull by its horns?
Well, Shiv, it seems the fact that Canadian lawmakers have come out and at least condemned and spoken about this, that this has become some sort of a polarizing factor within Canada, which has some potential to trigger internal disturbances. And that's something that Canada needs to look at very carefully, because as far as the diplomatic row is concerned, of course, it's led to another escalation, especially yesterday when the Indian Ministry of External Affairs said that Canada has become a safe haven for terror, a comparison that can only be made to Pakistan, for which India has used this expression perhaps several times, but not so often for Canada. Second aspect, Shiv, that India has very categorically stated that there is no specific information provided by Canada on the allegations of Indian officials being involved in Nijjar's killing. And having said that, Canada is expecting India to cooperate in the investigation. So Indian officials say that if Canada is seeking any kind of cooperation, they need to give out some details, some specifics, so India can be part of that cooperation. Unless those details are given, the Indian High Commission or Indian officials or the Ministry of External Affairs cannot do much about it.
Abhishek, thanks very much for that. What an absolute shame when the lives of people are hanging in the balance with open threats being issued by this joker. You have a situation where elected representatives in Canada only have platitudes to offer the Indian community there. People actually threatening violence against them, saying, if you don't leave Canada, you know, God help you. And you've got MPs saying, oh, we distance ourselves. They don't even name him. Forget about spine. There is no sense of heart also in these Canadian MPs for any Indians. Forget about anything else.